Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Anime One back here with another video, and today we're gonna be talking about what if Naruto was taken by Jiraiya for 3 years, part 9. So let's begin the video. Naruto immediately spared out his senses, sensing every chakra signature he could. A particular large chakra signature showed up on the outermost point of his range. Naruto smirked and ducked into an alley. After checking that no one was watching, he flashed to that location. He had put his formula around the hot springs as well, appearing silently in a yellow flash beneath the large man sitting on the tree branch, shamelessly peeping on the woman's side of the hot spring and giggling. Naruto reacted the instant and he appeared, jumping up and kicking the man into the woman's side of the bath. He sat down and enjoyed the show. There was definitely screams of women and pain screams of Jiraiya filling the air. Naruto laughed heartily at beating of his godfather was going through. To Naruto, Jiraiya was the father that he never had, and more than a master, he was a father to Naruto, and he had no problem making fun of the man. He didn't stop laughing when Jiraiya managed to leap over the fence and out of the war zone looking no worse of wear. He glared at the blonde brat on the branch, who was just wheezing so hard that he fell down the branch, not even registering the fall. Jiraiya growled and was about to kick the brat when Naruto finally stopped wheezing and stood up. His face was flushed with all the laughing. Jiraiya had a big smile on his face as he looked at Naruto. Honestly, Naruto looked exactly like Minato when he was his age. As the old man smirked, "That's what you get for peeping on women, pervy sage." Naruto smirked, folding his arms as Jiraiya's eyes twitched. "Well, besides that," Naruto said as he hugged Jiraiya, "I missed you." Jiraiya grinned and hugged Naruto back. "Well, I am the Toad Sage. How can someone not miss me?" Jiraiya said as Naruto chuckled and broke the hug. "Well, brat, by the looks of it, since you were at the top of your class, you must have a lot of fangirls," Jiraiya said with a perverted smile as Naruto smiled. "Yes, I did. And they were all so goddamn annoying," Naruto said as Jiraiya hit Naruto's back. "Now, don't be like that, brat. You must have liked someone," Jiraiya said as Naruto gave him a blank look, which made Jiraiya sweat drop. "Man, 3 years with me and he is still clueless about the girls," Jiraiya thought. Naruto and Jiraiya were walking towards the Namikaze mansion and catching up for 5 years to do. "Hey, sensei," Naruto said as Jiraiya looked at him. "What, brat?" Jiraiya asked. "Well, I think we should review my heritage in the Junin exams because I'm pretty sure I will have to use the Raishin in the exam," Naruto said in a serious tone as Jiraiya looked at him for a few seconds and answered. "Well, it's your decision, and from what the reports I've got from your sensei about your growth, you're low to high, mid-jonin level," Jiraiya said with a smirk as Naruto smiled. "Well, I have another favor to ask," Naruto said. "Go on," Jiraiya said. "Well, you see, I saw a cloak in the shop, but they were overcharging me for it. I was hoping that you would come with me to the shop and..." Naruto said as Jiraiya put a hand on his shoulder and with a serious face. "Tell me where the shop is," Jiraiya said. As Naruto and Jiraiya walked to the shop, as soon as Naruto entered the shop, the shopkeeper glared at him, but when he saw Jiraiya glaring back at him, he immediately stopped. Naruto saw the cloak that he was looking for and grabbed it. Jiraiya saw the cloak and smirked. The cloak was orange and had black flames at the bottom. "Well, people do say clothes make the man," Jiraiya said as Naruto smiled. "I'm pretty sure you have an idea why I want this cloak this badly," Naruto said as Jiraiya smirked. "Well, I am 40 years older than you," he said. Naruto and Jiraiya went to the counters. "It will be 20,000 yen," the counterman said with a smirk, making the cost 4 times much its original. Seeing this, Jiraiya stepped up. "Can I talk to the manager, please?" Jiraiya said as the man looked at him. "Sorry, sir, but we can't do that," he said. As Jiraiya glared at him, "Call the manager now," Jiraiya said, releasing some killing intent. As the man nodded and brought his manager. Once the manager came out, his eyes widened when he saw who called for him. "Jiraiya-sama, is anything wrong?" the manager asked. "Well, you see, me and my apprentice is trying to buy this cloak, but this man is charging him 4 times as much," Jiraiya said as the manager glared at the man, then looked at Jiraiya. "I'm sorry, Jiraiya-sama. I'm sorry, Jiraiya-sama. You may pay half of the original price of the cloak for causing you trouble," the manager said as Jiraiya nodded and looked at Naruto. "Pay up," he said as Naruto paid 2,500 yen and grabbed the cloak. "Okay, brat. Meet me at the hot spring tomorrow. We'll begin your training and don't be late," Jiraiya said, and with 2 fingers solitude, he was gone. Naruto chuckled. It was good to see his godfather after such a long time. He was as perverted as he was ever. He was just gone in yellow flash a moment later. Next morning. The next morning, he met Jiraiya at the bathhouse again. "Good morning, Pervy Sage," Naruto said. Jiraiya grumbled. "You still stuck on that name, huh?" he asked. Naruto said mildly, "You do have to admit, though, it's quite befitting of you," he said. As they walked, as Jiraiya explained, "All right, first I need to have a measure of your current skill. So we'll go on an empty ground. I know few ways away. Then after that, we'll help you set up for the things you need to work on while I do my own work." Naruto interrupted with a dry tone. "You mean peeping, don't you?" Jiraiya even didn't acknowledge the question, leading him into the field, with a large lake on the other side of the bushes. Jiraiya stopped in the middle of the field and turned to face Naruto. "Show me what you got," he said. Naruto asked him in return, "Should I use Enma?" Jiraiya thought about it. "At first, don't. When I tell you to use it," he said. As Naruto nodded, Naruto grinned savagely. "You could strike without holding back this time." The thought spiked his heart rate, adrenaline filling his veins. He shot forward in a dash, his right foot towards Jiraiya's face. It was blocked by the man, but Naruto only needed to get close. He engaged Jiraiya in an exchange of punches and kicks, palm strikes, and jabs, never hitting the Sannin, but never getting hit either. He realized that Jiraiya was not getting serious, so he decided to up his game. Disengaging, he formed the snake seal, wind style, wind torpent. A small spinning ball of wind sped towards Jiraiya, who smirked. His control over wind has increased. I wonder how his lightning affinity is. He has the strongest affinity to lightning after all, Jiraiya thought. He jumped out of the way, seeing the spot he was standing on exploded in wind. "I should have been cut in pieces if I had gotten hit with that," he thought, and sped through hand signs of his own. Fire style, fire bullets. Seeing this, Naruto went through hand signs. Water style, water bullets, as both attack met, forming smoke. Turned around on instinct to block the punch from a shadow clone, kicking it and causing it to dispel. However, chains of water rose and wrapped around him in a flash. However, he was not to dwell on it for long. A crying distracted him. Water style, great water fang projectile. Jiraiya stared dumbstruck at the 12 feet tall spinning drilling water coming towards him from above, with Naruto holding a dark seal. The drill crashed onto where Jiraiya was being held, creating a large explosion of water. Naruto stared at the spot where Jiraiya was. A huge log was there. Jiraiya appeared behind Naruto with a kunai at his neck. "Well, kid, you have gotten stronger without your sword. You are at least high tuning level," Jiraiya said with a proud smirk on his face, and Naruto smirked back. "Well, let's see how things go when I use my sword," Naruto said as he unseathed the Enma. Jiraiya jumped back and took out a kunai. "Bring it on, brat." Just like that, Naruto appeared in front of Jiraiya with a sword raised for a slash that Jiraiya blocked with his kunai. Naruto jumped back and applied wind chakra to his sword. Wind slash, Naruto said, as he sent a wave of wind towards Jiraiya, who went through hand signs, earth style. Mud wall, he said, as a huge wall appeared in front of Jiraiya and blocked the attack. Meanwhile, Naruto was applying water chakra to his sword. This is my new move. It's even more powerful than Flash Step Cutter, Naruto thought as he was running towards Jiraiya at full speed, gathering more water around his sword. Jiraiya saw Naruto running towards him and he went through hand signs. Fire style. Fire blast jutsu. Huge ball of fire went towards Naruto, who smirked and vanished in a yellow flash, appearing a distance away, where he had left the three-pronged kunai and was still running towards Jiraiya. Earth style, earth bullets. Jiraiya sent earth bullets made out of stone towards Naruto, who was still running towards him. Naruto smirked as he sliced stone bullets in half and was still running towards Jiraiya. Jiraiya had caught on to what Naruto was doing. He's gathering water from the ear and using his chakra to pass the water through the blade. That's taking a lot of time. At the same time, he's building up his speed to make the attack much more deadlier. Jiraiya thought, his eyes widened when Naruto appeared behind him in a yellow flash. Water style. Constant flux, Naruto said as he slashed Jiraiya, who was just in time able to substitute himself. The log that Jiraiya substituted himself was sliced in half, but only the wave of water that was released from Naruto's sword sliced the tree in half that was in front of the log. Jiraiya, who saw this from a distance, his eyes widened. He barely dodged the attack, and the bat was so fast that he thought he was done for. But before Jiraiya could think, he saw another yellow flash and had to block a slash from Naruto, who was smirking. "When the hell did you mark me?" Jiraiya said as Naruto was still smirking. "Well, yesterday, when we were having dinner," Naruto said as Jiraiya's eyes widened. "You knew that I would test you, so you already marked me with the Hiraishin seal. But still, your movements are still nowhere near Minato's speed. If he had been in your place and marked me, I would have been dead," Jiraiya said, as Naruto smirked and disappeared. "Well, for now, we are done, brat. I know what to teach you," Jiraiya said. "Kid, you beat most joining with what you have right here," he remarked, as his opinion of Naruto only rose higher when he replied. "Well, as you said, I'm nowhere near my father's movement speed. Even if I evolve the Hiraishin to level 3, it doesn't mean I can move my body as fast as my father, even if I can teleport faster than him," Naruto said as Jiraiya smiled and nodded. "Well, have you mastered the Hiraishin?" Jiraiya asked as Naruto shook his head. "No, I can only use it about 30 times a day, whereas my dad could use it at least, infinite times," Naruto said as Jiraiya grinned. "Well then, make your shadow clones do the work," Jiraiya said as Naruto nodded as he made 100 shadow clones. 50 of them went to practice their Hiraishin. "Hey brat, have you noticed something about your sword?" Jiraiya said as Naruto tilted his head and had a confused look on his face, which confirmed Jiraiya's suspicion. "Well, your sword has evolved to its second stage. Before you ask how I know this, I don't. Sendro told me before he left," Jiraiya said as Naruto sighed. Well, I don't know what my sword can do in its second stage," Naruto said as Jiraiya looked at him. "Well, I or even Sendro can help you in that. Only you can know Enma's power," Jiraiya said as Naruto looked at him with Enma in his hand. "Well, if that's the case, I'll figure out something," Naruto said, with the determination as Jiraiya smirked. "Well, I think it's time I give it this," Jiraiya said as he pulled out a scroll, offering it to Naruto. Naruto opened the scroll and his eyes softened when he saw the name of the last Toad contract summoner. "Dad." His eyes moisturized as he rubbed them. He took out a kunai and cut his thumb. He wrote his name on the scroll as Jiraiya closed the scroll. Well, it's done, and these are the hand signs. Jiraiya said as he showed him the hand signs, and Naruto nodded and went through the hand signs. Summoning jutsu, Naruto said, as there was a huge puff of smoke. Jiraiya, you better have summoned me for a damn good reason. A huge toad said, and it was none other than Gamabunta. Well, I wasn't the one who summoned you, Jiraiya said. Well, it's been a while, Chief Toad, a voice said as Gamabunta looked up to see Naruto on his head. Oh, so it's you, Naruto. You have grown up. You look just like your old man, Gamabunta said as Naruto smiled. Well, I was the one who summoned you. Well, I'm sorry if I disturbed you, Naruto said, scratching the back of his head. Well, I knew this would happen sooner or later. Since I have known you for a long time, you don't have to give me a test. From today, I'll be your summon. The Gamabunta said as Naruto smiled. Thanks, Chief Toad. You can leave if you want to now, Naruto said, as without saying anything, Gamabunta disappeared in a puff of smoke. Jiraiya had an irritated look on his face. What's wrong, Pervy Sage? Naruto asked. I expected you to at least take a day or two to get down the jutsu, but you did it in your damn first try. Your chakra control has skyrocketed, Jiraiya said as Naruto smirked. Well, what do you expect? Hey, Naruto, Kuruma said. What's up? Naruto said. I suggest that you learn a seal that can tighten up a Biju seal. Kuruma said as Naruto raised an eyebrow. Why? He said, as Kuruma decided to speak. That red-haired sand brat will probably go crazy if you fight him and release Chicago on this village. That's why, if you learn a high-level Biju suppressing seal, it will be helpful, Kuruma said, as Naruto nodded. Well, Sensei, I was wondering if you could teach me a sealing jutsu that can tighten up a Biju seal. Naruto said as Jiraiya raised an eyebrow. Why? He asked, as Naruto told him of Gaara. Well, if you want, sure, but how do you know of this information? Jiraiya said as he narrowed his eyes at Naruto. Well, I can sense it somehow. I can feel the demonic chakra leaking out of him. Naruto lied, but Jiraiya nodded his head. He knew Naruto, being an Uzumaki, had a very good sensory ability. Naruto sat a clone while learning the sealing jutsu with Jiraiya as the original was looking at Enma. How the hell am I supposed to figure out Enma's ability? Naruto thought, as an idea came into his head. Hey Kuruma. What now, brat? Kuruma said, annoyed that Naruto was interrupting his sleep. Well, since you have been living for so long, I was wondering if you knew what Enma's second stage can do, he said. I do know, but I will not tell you. You'll have to figure it out on your own, brat. I'll give you one hint. Think about the moment you put your sword on that Hyuga's brat's neck, Kuruma said, leaving a confused Naruto. Naruto thought. Then it suddenly clicked. I saw this purple aura coming out of Enma when I was pissed at Neji, and I felt this power running through my body. Naruto thought as he grabbed Enma and created 10 shadow clones. I want you to come with me with intent to kill, he said, as the clones nodded. 4 hours later, all the clones were gone and Enma had purple aura around it as the aura disappeared. So that's the trick to use the sword second stage. Not gonna lie, it's pretty hard, but I got it, Naruto thought with a smirk. Time skip, 1 month later. Naruto and Jiraiya established a schedule for Naruto's training. Jiraiya would create 2 shadow clones along with Naruto. He would remain with the original while the other 2 would practice in Fuinjutsu and Ninjutsu. Naruto had mastered the 5 elemental seal that Jiraiya taught him. It was enough to tighten up the seal that Gaara had, so it was no trouble. He had also completely mastered the Hiraishin no Jutsu and even the level 3 of stage of that jutsu that his father could not create. Wow, that was all his clone work. He was working on mastering Enma's second stage, and the trick to unlock the second stage, he had to focus on his opponent. an opponent only. No distraction in his mind should be there, which was very hard. He had also increased his reaction time and body movement speed by a lot. You could bet that most Jonin could not react to his speed if he used the Hiraishin. With his reaction speed, he was not fast as his father, but he was getting close. He also had created a new jutsu by using Enma's second stage and Hiraishin together, and because of that, he was at least a high Jonin level ninja. He was pretty sure that he could beat Azuma and Kurenai, but Kakashi and Guy, he was sure that they would beat him if they wanted to. He was not at their level yet. Sasuke and Suki had increased their speed, and now they were much faster than Lee without his weights on. And they also had learned the Raikiri, the evolved version of Chidori. But they could only use it 2 times a day, so they were a low Jonin level ninjas. Naruto was in his house looking at the mirror. He was wearing a black shirt with white Anbu pants and a cloak that he bought, and he was sure that with this look, everyone would be surprised by how similar he looked to the fourth. It would be funny to see the reaction when he used the Hiraishin and revealed his heritage. He got up, thinking about what would happen today. Today, 2 things would be sure to happen. He was not going to beat Neji. No, that would be too light of a punishment for what he did to Hinata. It would show him just how little fate meant to him. Secondly, was Jiraiya told him that Senju found out there will be an invasion by the Sound and the Sand village, and that scared him a bit. So many people would die, and those people will not just be the enemies. You'll be his comrades as well. He shook his head, wiping that line of thought immediately. He would have to fight like a shinobi today. Fast, deceptive, and ruthless. He already had his plans on how to beat Goro, whether they crossed paths in the final or on the battlefield. Goro would either lose or die. His personal preference if it didn't come to the second choice. He smirked when he saw he looked almost like a mini-me of his father. Today would be marked as the day of the legacy of the Yellow Flash of the Leaf Village.